Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Silver Genji. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, events we have going on, all that good stuff.
Empty your mind. Focus on the task at hand.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Okay, you've got an angle over here. Interesting. Yeah, you can poke the Rhine from here. I'd have probably preferred you'd pressured the supports, but if you're just going for max ult charge, yeah, you have an Ana, that fits. No, you do not have an Ana, excuse me. Okay, so pressure on your Reinhardt is useful if you're planning on winning this game as a Blade bot. It's probably going to be a little rough. You're not outpacing their Zen yet. Yeah, because even playing like this, you're only at 12% ult charge. We're there at 37 in the mirror. Okay, so a couple ways to think about this. If you're going, hey, I need to Blade Bot, that's how I plan to win the game. Yes, farming the back of tanks, very easy, very fast way to get ult charge, generally speaking. And that's fine. You can do some of that. The other way to play, of course, is to look for, hey, I'm going to instead try to soften up the Zen, and then if the Zen gets weak because I hit him with a volley, then I'm going to go in, do another, I'm going to potentially, after 1-2 volleys that hit him, I'm going to go in for my dash, get the finish, etc., and then be able to get out. So you can either play for like an assassination style or an ult farm style. I don't know, when you look at their team, you have to decide, their team and your team, you have to decide what you're going to do. And honestly, without the Ana, blades are okay, but you're playing without the Ana into a Zen, it's going to be hard to get eliminations. Now, if you think you can rapidly outpace this Zen and then still get work done with your blades, so be it, but that better actually happen if we're going to commit to this style. Is Bladebot the best way to play Genji? Yeah, probably. Bladebot is probably the best way to play Genji, and playing Genji without an Ana is rough, but, I'm not going to stop him. Like, you can absolutely still climb even without the Ana, and you can absolutely get value playing him other ways. Like, I just talked about the assassination style here, and that's absolutely a thing that you can do. You have to leave. Don't even bother. Yep. Why go back here? Why? Why would you do this? Like, you don't need to go here. You can just come right back here. Maintain your angle. You understood at the beginning of the game that the angle was good. Why are you now going back this way to join your team? Like, it's not like your team is getting crushed and needs to back up or anything. You want to go back and take these angles. Huh. Okay. What? What? Why are you dashing at a bubbled full health Zarya?
Swift as
What?
the wind.
No. You've got to get resets off of your dash. Yes, you're thinking, oh, I can climb back, etc., and it's fine because we're up. You weren't up anymore. Like, it looked like you were up, but their people had respawned and were only a second away, and now you can see that their respawns are back. That was not okay. Okay. So, again, this is maximum ult charge, which is okay. I'd actually prefer to just late peek these. Oh no, you let yourself get stuck. This is a problem. I honestly would have just said don't even. Like, let them push a little more. Like, oh, they're back. There's the McCree there. There's the Zen there. There's all that. I don't want to deal with that. So you just wait for a second until they start to actually spend their attention actually pushing this way. This was like a push like this, etc. No, you don't want any of that stuff. You want to see once they go that way, you push them, or if they're going to go this way, let the McCree get out of line of sight before you reopen this angle and challenge. Because you don't want to challenge a lot of them at once. You need them to be credibly distracted by your team, and you just mechanically got yourself stuck here. By not having dash, you almost were eliminated there. That's fine. You can't deflect Zarya beam. You just re-peeked too many times. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Why do you dash at bubbles? Mm-hmm. Okay, you're going to take space. You have the lamp up. You have the team. Are you going to work your way angle-wise out over to here or out over to here or out over to here and pick on the Ana? Like, what are we going to do? How else is Zarya going to get charged?
Step right up.
Yeah. You just need to get a card. You're not getting out. You shouldn't get out, and you got out. Okay, fine. Could have been quite the stagger. Okay, retake your high ground. Didn't hear those footsteps. Didn't hear those footsteps fast enough. Struggling to track him, but that's not the end of the world. Please retake your high ground. Please good. You don't want to drop. That's fine. If you can hit her, your Winston will go. Yeah. Okay.
I need healing.
That was just too risky. Like, you look at this. I know you're trying to help your monkey, but dropping into this, like, look at what this is. Look at what this is that you just dropped into. Like, this was too big of a drop. You can chuck shurikens at them, but you can't immediately hop your way out of here without using cooldowns, which you don't have. You didn't need to do this. Like, yes, you wanted to help your monkey, but you help your monkey up by throwing shurikens. You can't go into a 2v4 that's very quickly going to come a 1v4. I don't think he's going to get slapped on his first Dragon Blade. I think he's not going to get a good Dragon Blade off, or he's going to force it on second here. Okay, so this doesn't work. You're playing Bladebot Genji, and they've got 2 points before you've gotten value out of your first Dragon Blade. Not going to work. Like, flat out not going to work. I think you recognize that that's not going to work. Like, you have to, if you're farming Bladebots, you have to be, okay, I'm going to hit these tanks, and I'm going to hit these tanks constantly from angles that are deep on them, from safe positions that let me keep spamming them. I'm not going to take risks like dropping here where I take more damage and could risk my life. I'm not going to, be here. I'm going to play the angles and farm them from the back. Like, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time circling out here when I could have circled back here. If you're playing for the Bladebot, you're playing to get that blade fast. If you're playing the other style, you can do I'm going to slow or I'm going to creep a bit. I'm going to invest time because my payoff is I got the support eliminated. And that can be fine, but if you're playing the Bladebot, you got to be charging blade faster than this. And it's not just hit more shots, it's invest your time more wisely. Don't go on such long runs out. Don't put yourself at such risk that you get forced out, that you have to spend time getting healed and all that jazz. And then, find a clean fight quickly to use it.
Get into position.
What is this? You just dashed yourself into the enemy's sight lines against a bubble. You gonna blade? You gonna blade? She missed Sleep Dart. She's gifting you a blade. You're only up one. It's fine if you blade. Why would you blade now? Here you are. You went up. Oh, they swung back. They swung it back. Okay. I was watching them too closely. That's fine. That's fine. You can blade now. I would have preferred that you bladed, you know, ages ago, and the cart was stopped back here, but, you know, whatever. Okay. Okay, you get the Zen. Your follow-up slash isn't on the Kree? What? You lost track of the Kree. You lost track of the Kree that was laying right here. Okay, so you do have to mentally snapshot your targets, and you have to eliminate the highest threat targets first, or you have to blade out of line of sight of them. So that means your McCrees, your Annas, your Zens, your Lucios, your things that, you know, have stuff that can mess up your blade are cool to eliminate. So like, hey, eliminate the Anna, which you didn't, but you were maybe trying to do. Eliminate the McCree. Neither of those, like you got the elim on the Zen, which is good because that's trans, and if you think they don't have trans, you want to get that before they get trans. But like you gotta get rid of the stuns, or you have to know that the stuns have already been forced out, and you know he still has his stun, and he was lying on the ground right there for you to eliminate, and you didn't, you know, finish him. Oh yes, he did. Use your blade to kill scary things first. About right. Okay, take your angle. Yeah, so if the Anna's actually paying that much attention to you don't keep dueling her. You don't need to keep dueling her in a way, like, she's got better range than you do, as much as that might suck. So you go, oh, I'm not going to keep reopening the angle on her. I'm going to let my team pressure her Rhine a bit because she'll have to pay attention to Rhine again. Like, you don't need to just keep trying to force this like this. Yeah. You can pick on the supports because they have to go pay attention to the front line. You can't just constantly pick on the supports. You have to close the angle again to let them get distracted, bored, pressured into going back onto paying attention to their tanks. No. No. I don't care that you're successful. This is wrong. I don't think so. There's Nano, and it's not on the Genji. That's not how you dash. Okay. Those shouldn't really have been spread shots. They should have been 1, 2, 3s, but that's okay. Okay. Oh boy. We have mad dash issues. We also have a, what I'll call playstyle issue, where if we're going after supports, that's fine. Don't get yourself eliminated by the supports while poking at them from range. If you get eliminated by them when you'd gone in to try to finish them, I suppose I'll live with it. But that shouldn't really be happening either. You pressure the supports, and if they pay too much attention to you, you stop paying attention to them. You go behind cover, and then they have to pay attention to the front line again. That's how it works. Them having their uptime interrupted is more dangerous to their team than you having your uptime interrupted. So that's how that works. If you're farming tanks, please actually be more active, not more active in the sense of be doing it more often. If you're going, hey, I'm going to farm tanks for blades, I'm fine with that. That's absolutely fine. But you can't take these super long flanks that take you out of the battle. You can't go forever to go get a health pack. You can't stay in the battle so long to get that one extra shuriken that now you're missing a bunch of health and have to go get heals. You need to play it more safely when going against the tanks so that you can stay active longer. What made the dashes? The dashes? We've covered dashing so many times. Okay, what made the dashing wrong? So he used a bunch of his dashes at targets that he did not have a reasonable belief that he was going to eliminate in, say, the next half a second. If you regularly use your dash to get into situations that aren't truly isolated 1v1s, what's going to happen to you is you're going to find that you get eliminated when you shouldn't. You must reset when you get dashes. Unless you're in an isolated 1v1, when you use your dash, you do need to get a reset out of it. And he went and did a bunch of different dashes there into that situation where, yes, he did end up ultimately getting the eliminations, but there was not high probabilities that he was going to get those first two eliminations in the next half second. There was still healing that was in play. They had high enough health totals. Like, it wasn't wildly wrong. It was believable that he was going to get eliminations, and ultimately him and his team did get eliminations. But you want to be using your dashes to be very close to either get finishes or very close to be getting the finishes. Or you want your dash to take you to safety. So you can dash through them and dash through at an angle that I dashed through you to try to get the finish, whether I did or not, and now I finished up over here on the high ground when the fight is here type thing. Or I dashed through and it put me outside at the edge of the fight where I have a wall that I can use, etc. Or I dashed and got my finish so it doesn't matter that I'm in the fight, and now I can go ahead and dash through the next thing to get me out of the fight, which also chunked the other thing down 50.
Four, three, two, one. Attackers incoming.
Pass this ball.
Escort the payload.
Let's finish this quickly.
I don't particularly love this.
Let's finish this
Like,
quickly.
they're just better than you at this. That's a McCree and a Zarya, and you've made yourself visible to them really before that. Like, oh, well, yeah, okay, we'll shoot at you before we'll deal with your team down there. Your team isn't really a threat yet. Once your team gets to, like, here, your team is threatening. But if you're here, well, your team is back here, they should just shoot at you. And that's not great for you. It's going to force you out too quickly or get you eliminated. Fine. That dash is fine because of where it leaves you. I don't think you want to be here. Fine. Your team's more credible threat now. What are you doing? Where are you going? Okay. You have cooldowns, but that's a Zarya. You're just gonna have to dash out immediately. Like, this is literally walking into force your own cooldowns. Force it, but dash out! Ugh. Yeah. Like, you don't want to do these situations where you go, aha, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to get 2 shuriken throws in exchange for forcing my own cooldowns, which is basically the best that scenario could have gone. And that's not a good scenario because that's going to keep your actual uptime way too low. Because then, then even if this had gone right, you've, in exchange for getting 2 shuriken tosses out, dashed out, maybe used deflect, whatever, and now you don't have your cooldown, so you're going to play more passively for the next 8 seconds, which means you're going to get less ult charge, you're going to get less shuriken damage. You don't want to just do this like force my own cooldown type stuff. That's not in your benefit. You want to instead weave the edge a little bit more where it's like, hey, I'll let my team be a credible threat, and because my team's a credible threat, now I can do this, and you're not going to pay attention to me as quickly. I still do have my cooldowns, and because I have my cooldowns, I'm willing to play a little more aggressive, but I'm not playing a little more aggressive when it's just me. A little more aggressive when it's just me. Oh, my team's a threat? I'm going to get so aggressive that I can... No, because if you're looking too far in Blade, you don't want to play so aggressive that you actually draw the eyeballs to you quickly and pull your cooldowns out. You want to play more aggressive than you'd play like back here if you didn't have any cooldowns. You want to play more aggressive. That having your cooldowns lets you posture a little bit more aggressively to get more, but you don't want to play so aggressively that your cooldowns quickly get forced, because then you'll have to go back to playing super passive. You want to be able to play in that spot of, I have my cooldown so I can get more aggressive, so I can get more ult charge, and I'll get a little bit, but I'm not going to play so aggressive that I actually pull their attention to me. That's the sweet spot that you're trying to hit, and you're missing it pretty hard right now. Hey, Bloom.
The payload is
I just want to say that I've learned so much from watching these streams. I incorporated what I learned from these reviews and gotten better on heroes I didn't usually play. Excellent. That's great, Bloom. Has the 15% blade nerf really made Genji a lot weaker? Doesn't faster fire rate mean he can do damage faster? It's mostly worked out where people will tell you it was overall a nerf. There was some hope that it would be better, that it was make his neutral game better enough, but but the increased fire, no, it's mostly made him weaker. It really has been a nerf, is what people who play the hero, etc., will tell you, and I don't necessarily think they're wrong. Like, if you wanted to strengthen his, like, Genji mains would have been thrilled if they'd given him more damage instead of that fire rate help, but that fire rate help really didn't actually help enough. Like, it needed to be more damage on the shurikens, but they're scared, they are terrified of hitting certain breakpoints if they do that, and if they hit those breakpoints, they're worried it would be a little too easy for him to just eliminate people, and so I understand why that's not happening, but the fire rate didn't really cover the ult charge nerf in most people's opinions. Okay. So you're doing this on the Genji, and I get that, but Tisana doesn't know you're here and you have your cooldown. So if you wanted to change gears and go for the elimination style, you can walk up to her. You can crouch walk up to her, and until she even shows that she might start to turn, you can just get closer, get closer, get closer, and then instead of a spread shuriken, or you can do your spread shuriken if you get close enough, but you can walk towards her, partial crouch walk towards her, get close, get close. As soon as she starts to turn, you pull the trigger on throw, dash, I'm behind her, and then you either go for another throw or you go for your melee, pop your deflect, whatever. Like, this would be, hey, you've been gifted the opportunity to go for this, and instead you're shooting at the Genji, which is a little surprising. And now it's too late. Now you have to play for this. Oh, she's gonna leave. That's nice. Okay.
Get inside.
No, blah. No. If you're talking about Genji, yeah, no.
I need healing.
I mean, I don't doubt that you saw it, blah, but you probably saw it in a game where you had a Genji smurfing from a different rank. Like, yeah, you can, of course, go. A Genji can take over a game. A Genji can actually be very good still as a hero to take over a game if he's much, much better than the opposition in his game. But, like, that's not the normal thing. Like, you can also do that with a Tracer, with a Widow, like that, with a Hammond, with a Doomfist. Like, that's not new. Okay.
Bad guys. Heads up.
I would be interested in a robust defense of that statement there, Bluff. Okay. So what's the plan here? Like, you're going for this flank, but this doesn't make sense to go for this flank right now because your team has lost this fight. So you're going to have time to go for this flank while your team is respawning. So I'd rather you actually farm your ult charge right now. I would literally rather you stand right here and farm your ult charge right now while your team is losing this fight, because you're going to have plenty of time to go take this flank. You taking this flank right now is going to lead to either you inting while your team isn't here, or it's going to lead to you having to wait for your team to come back before you can do anything. So I'd have rather you got your ult charge. Since you're going to have time to wait later, you can use that later waiting time to go take this flank instead of doing it now. One DPS worse than Genji? Well, that's easy. Bastion. So you went in. You see how that worked? You went and took the fight after your team had lost the fight? You can't do this. And you might think, no, I wasn't trying to take the fight. I was trying to remove the Bastion because my team's just going to lose and I counter Bastion or something like that. No, that's not how it works. Even if you do go, oh, I can beat him, his friends are going to be able to turn around and help him immediately because they just massively won the other fight. So even though some of them pushed up, it's too easy, and it was always going to be at least Anna that could help him. And do you expect to beat Bastion when he has an Anna pocket? I don't. Do you expect him to not have this Anna pocket? I certainly expect him to. That was always going to happen. And then it turns out Briggs can turn and throw packs if she wants, and Reinhardt could even charge his way back. Like, you can't take this. You're trying to force at least a 1v2, but for all you know, a 1v6. Here's that blade from the other Genji.
Greetings. 60 seconds.
My ultimate is ready.
Okay. Are you going to take this, or are you going to... You're going to blade this, okay. Surely you're going to blade this once you think... This is real. They're pushing. They're walking at your team. Your team can't help but take this fight. Please blade. Please blade and eliminate them. Please... Oh my goodness, too late. Good. Nice! Good blade. Good dash. Good dash. Dash. Okay.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
I don't love this, but it's okay. It's about to get worse. Yeah. Yeah. That was pretty darn aggressive. You were going to have to force your own cooldowns or take damage to get here. Now that you've taken damage, until your team heals you, you can't really do work. Again, your team was fighting over here, over in here, and you were like, that gives me freedom to go through, dance through the middle and take this, and it doesn't. It's not a credible enough distraction. Your movement, your ability to take space, your ability to get in towards the enemies is based on when your team is aggressing. You can't do this. You literally can't do this. If the Winston jumps up here, you lose. Okay.
Much better.
What was that for? Didn't you see that she'd already used sleep on you and missed? Why did you pop deflect? You need deflect when you're closer to her so that you can try to deflect the nade. This is not an isolated enough fight to justify that dash. Okay.
The payload moves in accordance.
I am repaired.
You're gonna lose in here? Yep. Wow. You should have lost in there.
I require healing. Thank you.
Okay, no. I'm actually okay with that. So this is fine. Dash through him, and then play in here. play in here where you're at the angle where the rest of these guys can't contribute on you, because you don't know, is there scary stuff here? Is there scary stuff here? Like, you don't want to go back into this fight. No. Okay. Okay. Okay, can we work on the Ana now? Mm-hmm.
I am ready.
60 seconds remaining.
Okay, this is fine, but you're missing health and you've got no dash. So you are going to have to be pretty passive about this farm from here. This is good pressure, but you have to be passive about this pressure. Okay, as soon as she looks at you, you're going to close the angle. Close the angle. Close the angle. Good. Well, except you reopened it. He's putting some... Ouch. Ouch. Putting some pressure on them is good, but you want to do it in a way that does not risk your own life when you're low on resources. Resources being health and cooldowns in that situation. Because it was helping your front line to pressure their back line, to keep their back line thinking about you. Ash wasn't quite, was a little too aggressive with it, and then, you know, you mechanically took the mistake and took the fire strike there. That is not a thing. You've got 21 seconds left on this match. You don't have to force this. Your team is getting pushed. Why? Why are you going over here? Why not, like, go over here and do more standard stuff and take out the Ana? Why are you trying to blade their front line? Rallying Briggs and a Reinhardt? Okay, at least, like, what is the plan here? None of these are great blade targets. This is the best of them, but not great. Like, why not go over here? Take out the weakest chink of the armor first. Not blade into the people that are getting a bunch of rally armor.
Soldier 76 reporting for duty.
I will not falter.
Okay. So probably make this about your blades. How do we want to describe this? So you had target prioritization on really your third point blade and your second point blade there. You didn't have enough blades, but that's fine at silver. So when you're using your blades, you want to make sure you're understanding what targets you're going after first. You want to understand, hey, yes, I need to do things like force trans if those are on the board before I go for blade. But then when I go for blade, I do need to immediately eliminate the targets that potentially have shots to shut down my blade. And two of the biggest examples of those are McCree and Ana. So you want to take those down. You also don't want to go after tanks, especially without a nano, until you've sort of cleaned up the rest of the fight. Like if you need to chunk a tank because there's nothing else left, you took down the other target, so be it. But blade is a more surgical move than this. It's surgically remove the squishy stuff that they have. The Anas, the McCrees, the Zenyatas, the heroes that don't have such easy outs. You know, you can go after Moiras, Mercies with it, etc. Those are still generally going to be better than tanks, but you want to go after you want to remove the targets that can shut down your blade, and that's specifically going to be, in most situations, the McCrees and the Anas. And even if you're not going after the ones that can shut down your blade, because there's no one left that can shut down the blade, you want to go after the ones that you can reliably quickly eliminate with your blade. So that might be, hey, I'm going after, I mean, everyone's a little tough, but you're going after people that aren't going to take you 4 or 5 slashes to get through. Yes, I'm talking about don't go after tanks. I'm talking about preferably don't go after people with invulnerability cooldowns until you've gone after people without them. Like, yeah, are you sometimes going to have to be swinging on a Reinhardt or a Zarya? Absolutely, but you're going to do it after you've removed all the other viable targets. And, you know, after you've gotten a couple eliminations. Maybe that's on an Ana, maybe that's on a Mercy, maybe that's on McCree, AoE, maybe that's on a soldier. Like you can do it after you've taken care of some of these more viable targets. So that's going to be the thing for actually driving the blades, and that's going to help you actually win more team fights more reliably out of them. The other thing that we're going to get into is getting your blades, and this is what I was talking about before, where when it comes to getting our blades, we're looking to not just constantly force our own cooldowns and force our own health to be spent. We're looking to sort of go, hey, if I can sort of farm at this level of farm speed, that would be good. If I get really aggressive, I can farm here, but then I end up spending health and spending cooldowns. So my continued farm speed until I get my cooldowns back then goes down to here until I get those cooldowns back, and then it gets to go, well, and then let's use our eraser. Oh, okay. So like standard farm speed. Get really aggressive, get to go like this for a bit, and that's cool, but then your cooldowns are used, and you drop down to here, and then you go here until you have your cooldowns back, and then you have to angle back into your normal, and then maybe you go for a bit, and then once you use your cooldowns, it looks like this, you see how that goes. We sort of want to erase these out a little bit. Like it's okay to get the high stuff, the low stuff happens. If the high stuff happens, the low stuff happens, that's okay. But we're looking to do more at this midline because what tends to really end up happening, I'm not drawing the low line long enough. I should have done a better job of that, is you end up in situations where I got a little more ult charge and now I have to play super passive with health packs, with running around, with spending a lot of time to set up flanks, etc. So like we don't want to force our own cooldowns, waste our own health for very minor gains. We would instead prefer, okay, I can farm at 100% efficiency for 2 seconds, or I can farm at 70% efficiency for infinity time. And if I farm at 100% efficiency for 2 seconds, I'm then going to have to go farm at 40% efficiency for 8 seconds, or whatever the case may be. So, like, this isn't perfect, but you want to understand, hey, when I'm using my cooldowns, like I want to make sure I'm getting more than 2 seconds when I use my cooldowns. I'm mostly looking to do this. I can go a little more aggressive than this and go like up to 80%, whatever we want to call it, aggression, and go, hey, eventually my cooldowns are going to get forced. That's okay, that kind of thing. But we're not looking to just go, let me go from super passive play to super aggressive play to super passive play to super aggressive play. Like we do want to go, hey, I'm farming better than that. I'm farming having my cooldowns lets me play more aggressive. Now I don't want to play so aggressive that they instantly get forced. You can think of it much like like Reaper in his Wraith form. That said, if you try playing the different style, you're going for the assassinations, you use them differently, that's just fine. But for now, I want you to be going to try and farm these blades faster, and that's going to be more about understanding, hey, let me play, this is a good place to play, but you can't aggress there until your team is actually being a credible threat for you. This wasn't a great place to play until your team was over here. And if your team is still back here, that means you have more time to set up. You have more time to go take a flank. You have more time to go take a flank. If your team isn't being aggressive enough for you, you can use that time to go take a flank, So invest your time in taking flanks when your team isn't being passive enough to allow you to farm. If your team is getting wiped, great. You can farm a little. Don't go use that time to invest while your team is getting wiped, because this is time that you can get some farm off, and then when your team is respawning, you can potentially go spend time looking to set up a flank. That's more how you want to think about it. Now you have to be careful about going and setting up the flank while they're wiped, because you can get flushed out and you're not going to get any help, obviously. You don't actually deepen your flank when it happens, but you sort of start it, you get ready to deepen your flank when your team gets back. So that's how I'd go about this. Like I'd say work on your Genji, but what you're specifically working on your Genji is getting more blade value, both with the blade itself, with your target selection, which I think we've covered. And then the second thing you're going to want to work on is you're going to want to go, hey, I don't want to constantly force my cooldowns. I don't want to go, I got 2 shots off in exchange for this. I don't want to go, I got over here, but it cost me half my health, and now I can't really do anything. I can't afford to open this angle and shoot at the end until I get healed up. Or in your case, I am going to shoot at the end and I'm going to get eliminated. Like, you can't be taking a bunch of trips back to spawn like that. You can't be forced out like that. So this is a little more complicated than what I usually give a Silver Genji player, and I totally get that. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me, leave a comment, etc. I'm happy to try to explain this differently, because again, I don't usually go for this with a Silver Genji player, but I think you can get it. And it's going to be important to make this better because your Genji is not getting its blades fast enough, and this is not simply a mechanical issue. Okay. Let's catch up on chat here, but if you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe as that helps me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, events we have going on, all that good stuff. You guys are just fighting over... You guys are just fighting over balance between 76 and Blade at this, or 76 and Genji at this point. Yes, I did just call Genji by his ultimate's name because that's basically what he is, sort of. Um, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's going to do it. And I don't see anything else great to review right now. Patch just wiped everything out yesterday, as you guys know. So I'll look around. I'll do more today, but I'm not seeing anything great, so I'm going to take a bit of a break. I will see you guys later. Thanks. Temporal out.